All right, gentlemen, let's work. Hey, what's up? It's good to be back. Feeling good. Excited to show off some more Plaisir. Been able to get some good work done on it. It's a good night. What is tonight? Is it a Tuesday? Tuesday night. Tuesday nights are for editing. Friday nights are for editing. Every night's for editing. Until this project is done. Whew! This has consumed so much of my life. Alright. So, you can see where I'm at now. If you were at the last stream, I think I ended like around here. I was just showing off the draft version of this. So I've worked through like the next 5 minutes of the film, and all these every single voice line here has been freshly replaced. It's all sounding near wonderful. What's up, the Dark Jedi? Thanks for joining. Appreciate you. Shoya, Sukui. Prisms, yeah. That's our boy from he contributes a lot in the Wookiees, Rebels, and More community. Nice to see you as well. Been binging Mission Impossibles, watching Ghost Protocol tonight. Cool. I've still only watched the first one since we last talked. That's the only one I've seen there. I'll catch up one day. My shows right now that have been taking my evenings, again, I'm generally more of a show person than a movie person, which is ironic because I turn Disney shows into movies. I like my Star Wars in movies. I like most other stories and shows. What am I watching right now? Watching The Rehearsal, Season 2. That's a phenomenal show. That's more like it's like real comedy. It's a very interesting premise. If you ever watched Nathan For You, that old comedy bit, this is Nathan Fielder's his new show he's been doing. It's quite impressive. And then I started watching Common Side Effects, a new animated series. I think came out end of last year. Just a couple episodes into that, and I feel like I had one more on my list. Oh, I'm watching freaking Rings of Power, which has been a wee bit of a letdown, TBH. You love All Dogs Go to Heaven? I don't think I've seen that one. Huh. Never watched that one. 1989? That looks like Pedro Pascal. I've never watched that. Who produced this? What studio made this? Why can I not find the studio? Goldcrest Films. I've never even heard of Goldcrest Films. Looks like a charming old animated movie though. Nice. Well, let's get into it. So let me run you through what I worked on. If you remember, we transitioned from our Rancor devouring our dear friend here. I kind of finalized the Huttese here. Okay, so got all the Huttese programmed in there. I think it's sounding pretty good. Awesome suggestion from Goob was, if you remember, Din walks out of here and he goes, "This is interesting," in this weird tone that doesn't even make sense. Neither does the dialogue. So I've replaced it with a classic.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah. Classic, classic, classic. Thank you, Goob, for the suggestion. Let's turn the volume down a little bit on him. Involves heaven, hell, dogs, and crime. Made by Don Bluth. Interesting. Heaven, hell, dogs, and crime. My kind of movie. Is it kid-friendly? Can I watch it with my chillins? Rings of Power is terrible. Very girl boss, he says. You know, I'm watching actually a fan edit of it. So it takes the Rings of Power season and turns it into like an extended edition Lord of the Rings movie. So I think it's down to like 4 hours, 15-minute runtime in movie format. So I would say I would assume a little more tolerable, as I know the show is wildly unpopular kind of across the board, and it seems very likely, I was reading reports on it recently, that they are going to not get through all 5 seasons, that they'll perhaps even condense it to finish in season 3, or definitely season 4. They do not have the viewership to justify the budget. Like the first half of season 1 was the peak, and then everyone was just like, okay, this show kind of sucks. And I agree to a degree. It's the writing is very poor. It's like, I know the showrunners get a lot of hate for it. I don't want to jump on just a hate train, but it does feel like it's the first show they've ever made. It's like they had unlimited resources to make their first show ever, and the pacing is horrendous. The passage of time is just beyond confusing. You can't tell if hours or days or weeks or months are going by in between scenes. I mean, like, there's just no sense of chronology. Bounces back and forth between a bunch of storylines in the beginning, most of which are exceedingly boring compared. I like the one with Elrond and Durin and the dwarves is my favorite so far. The giant with like the proto-hobbits, that one's been terrible so far. Galadriel's kind of just really milk toast. But it looks freaking beautiful. I wouldn't say the costumes are the best, but anytime they show the environment or Middle Earth, it looks amazing. I mean, they had infinite resources to do it. And it's crazy because they had such a great script from the Silmarillion to just build this out and Tolkien's Unfinished Tales. You should be able to make a phenomenal story out of that. They just dropped the ball so hard. You know, they go off and try and do all their own things, and they think they're smarter than the rest of us. So, oh well. It's not been great so far. Depends your kid's age a little. It's a little scary. It's interesting. Also, Rings of Power, that feels impossible to fix. Yeah, I know. It's getting my brain churning for fixes, but even the version I'm watching that's like 4 hours, I feel like there's too much in it, and it's been a little confusing at times. Even so, like I said, once I finish this, I'm gonna put out like a 16-team tournament where I'm gonna put it out for public vote. What do you want me to work on next? I already have commitments. My next project's going to be Supernatural Encounters, Chapter 24, Part 2, but that's probably only a month or two production cycle, and then I'm through the rest of that chapter. I'm going to put it up to vote. I'm going to throw in probably Andor, Ahsoka, Acolyte, probably The Phantom Menace. I'll experiment tossing in a few other franchises, see if what my subs want. Do they want me to stick with Star Wars forever or some of my other passions? I could throw The Witcher in there, Rings of Power, The Boys, Game of Thrones. I feel very confident in my ability to edit all of those franchises. What else? Like, I'll brainstorm a bunch of stuff and throw it up for a tournament, and we're gonna go matchup by matchup and pick my project. I'll put that up once I finish and release this. I don't want to start thinking about anything else until this is donezo. What's up, Goob? They went all female in season 2 with directors and such. Yeah, I'm not at season 2 content yet, so I don't know anything about that, but I know the season 2 ratings were abysmal. Let's go. I want you to tackle Andor. Yeah, it would be very fun. That would be a fun one. I would be doing movie edits of it. There's a lot I could do for that. I think it's already great, but I think it could be better with different perspective, at least better for some people and their subjective opinions. Or TPM. Yep, TPM's always intrigued me. That one's intrigued me a lot. The kids with the weird stuff are Amazon's anti-hobbits. I think aren't they supposed to be like proto-hobbits? Is that what they're called in the lore? Like, I don't think they've like evolved into actual hobbit status yet. If I understand, they're like, I don't remember reading about their creation, because they created, well, the Valar create the elves, then the dwarves are created, then men are created, but I don't think I read anything about how hobbits came to be. Not sure. So, the Star Wars Authority says do whatever I'm most passionate about. Yeah, it's always good to have passion in there. It's got to be like a mixture of passion, fixability, and public interest. It's a combo package of all three. I'm kind of intrigued by doing the Clone Wars as well. Definitely have the passion there. I love what Eddie Dean has done with that series. You can see here, I got it bookmarked. This is awesome. My only thing is I like movie formats when I consume my Star Wars. So a lot of these are like 24, 22-minute episodes. I would love to take on the challenge of studying a lot of his ideas and formatting, but then trying to combine it into a movie. And I probably won't be able to open it. But I know he does like text introductions for each episode that like give the context. I would try and do like AI voice the like the newscast announcer guy and try to use that as like transitionary things inside of a movie. So when we're like cutting from, say you go through the Malevolence arc, but then also want to switch to Mandalore after that, I think you could make that transition like another newsreel plays. Like you're just watching a couple hours of news events. World War II stuff is what it's themed off of, so it's like a running show inside the movie, essentially. So that would be my idea, but I'll put it out there for a vote. I'm a man of the people. I'm passionate about this, of course. I'm passionate about The Boys. I love The Witcher's my next favorite franchise. Mass Effect would be number 2, but they don't have any movie content. They do have an anime movie. It's actually not bad. I enjoyed it. Okay, so back to these changes. So, oh, Goop, were you here in time for this? I think you were. That's why you probably said let's go. But
I've got a bad feeling about this.
that's so good. I love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We watched this last time, and I didn't really change. Okay, I did change the end of this conversation, so let's play from here.
I'm afraid we have more pressing matters. Perhaps at a later time.
This is not a request. Please do not attempt to leave the vehicle.
Ah, damn it. This is why you don't let droids run a planet.
Okay, so, last time I had all this blank because I needed to replace what they said here because it was really dumb in the show. So I replaced it. This needs to be a little louder for her line. Bo says, I've never been trapped on a tram before, have you? He says, no, this is a new one. Do you think we're going to have to blast our way out of here? She goes, we'll find out. There we are. We transition here. I shared the draft version of this dialogue, so I've just replaced the voice lines. Same thing. Didn't think we'd be spending so much time in Hyperloop pods together. Are you complaining about that? No, just pointing it out. Let's just finish this and be on our way. So, they go straight down. As you can see, we've bypassed Jack Black and Lizzo. We're on our own new adventure here. In transition, they drop down straight into the workshop. Oh, the Ugnaughts. And I don't think I've ever showed off this conversation in full, and I just touched it up a bunch and replaced every single voice line here. So I need to listen to it all the way through, so I will be playing that. We'll launch it from here. A couple chats first. Love to see the Clone Wars as 2 or 3 movies between the live action movies. I would, if it were my project, I'd definitely be doing a lot more movies. Sorry. I couldn't cut that down to 2 or 3 movies. I mean, mine would probably be like 10, 15 movies, honestly. It'd be a commitment. A Bad Batch is also out there. I started on a Bad Batch edit. I finished like the first whole film. I just got a little dejected the direction the show went in season 3, especially. I did not like. Thought it peaked in season 2. Definitely the Senate Palpatine conspiracy episodes. That was phenomenal. That was getting me hyped. I was like, oh, this show's turning a corner, and then it's kind of all downhill from there. In my humble opinion, wasn't bad. I just personally did not like the direction the story went. Darth Goo, the Authority watched your... I know you're the Arrowverse, I just like calling you the Authority. But the Authority watched your Rebels trailer recently. Did you replace Ventress's voice with Crayon Malachor? Yes, he did. It's even better now than what it was in the trailer. Nice. Yep. That did happen. I can confirm. I know it was just like Ventress's voice actress. It was never supposed to actually be Ventress in that holocron, which just confused a lot of people. Because you could hear notes of Ventress, but it also confused a lot of people into thinking it was Kreia. Filoni wanted to make it Kreia, but then Disney wouldn't let him, so they just backed off and just made it a neutral person. And I think Goob did a wonderful job of actually making it Kreia, which I don't know why Disney would block that, because that would have been cool, but they're scared of the EU. Maybe one more to go alongside post Revenge of the Sith. Oh, in your movie idea. That would be a massive, massive challenge to do that convincingly. One that I wouldn't want to take on. I could do just like faithful TV to movie adaptations of it, but I don't think I could cut it down to 3 movies in between 2 and 3. I think you'd miss out on too much. I mean, you'd have to do like a Maul arc, a Mandalorian arc. Yeah. 1 second, let me get a tissue. Man, dry air making my nose bleed. BRB. goodness, that's annoying. Literally just sitting here talking, not doing anything, and poof, a drop of blood lands on my thigh from my nose. I got problems, man. Can't remember what I was talking about. Also, I don't understand why Ventress's voice was there. Guess she died until she returns again. Yeah, I kind of went through that earlier. They just had indecision and just stuck with the actress. It was never supposed to actually be Ventress. All thanks to me that it's better now. That's so kind. Give yourself some credit. Kanan, Maul, the Grand Inquisitor, and Ezra are all a ripoff of Starkiller and Ram Koda. Maul died in TPM, though. Enough said. The Star Wars Authority is a purist. This guy doesn't take any shit from Disney. He likes the OG content. And I feel him. I do feel you. I mean, they definitely just... Yeah, they took a lot of inspirations from EU, which can end up feeling a little bit repetitive at times because of that. I don't know any time where I would say they just did it so much better than EU. But that's not to say the new stuff is all bad. I do wish they would just faithfully adapt the old stuff, though. But alas. Yeah, I like the core story. Yeah, the core story of Rebels is good. For being a kid's show, it's decent. I cannot grow to like the art style. I just cannot. I do not like it. I'm not ashamed to say it. It doesn't. I still like the show. It doesn't ruin it for me, but I can't say the art style ever grew on me. Don't like I get the Ralph McQuarrie skinny lightsabers. Not a fan. I've seen YouTube fan edits where the lightsabers are fixed, and it looks better. Yeah, I just like the Clone Wars art style better, so I'm just comparing everything to that. I know they didn't have the same type of budget, so I don't fault them. It started off as a very much kid-oriented show, and then got taken in a different direction, kind of similar to Clone Wars, actually. I wouldn't call it inspiration when it's ripped away. I mean, it's not like they're taking the exact names of people, and then... But yeah, I mean, like, Ram Koda going blind and being this mentor, wearing, like, the shoulder armor type of thing. Yeah, heavily inspired from. But, like, Sam Witwer was a big part of the show and stuff, so I understand how it happened. Again, not saying I'm a fan, but I understand how and why, at least. That's as far as I got on the remake, on the pass-through of this. So now you can kind of see the direction we're going here. If you heard dialogue there, it was replaced. Tell me if anything sounded like extraordinarily off to you. Again, I will do another pass upstairs on the stereo, and I always have like 50 lines to redo throughout the whole movie. Once I listen to stuff up there out of my headphones, it obviously sounds different. But that's the direction we're going. So you've got this new conversation with the Ugnaughts that kind of shows the similarity between their system of honor and the Mandalorian system of honor. Everything, and I'm very happy with my Ugnaught voice.
This is the location of a hidden warehouse. You will find answers there.
We are in your debt.
So I replaced all of the Ugnaught because he's got to say different things than he says in the movie or in the show. Because in the show they're talking about like misbehaving civilian droids that the Ugnaughts are you sabotaging them? I can't even remember if he sends them. I can't even remember the chain of events in the show that leads them to get to the battle droid station. Then I've got a new conversation. It looks like this data pad showing battle droids are being shipped off world from this warehouse. They're trying to figure out who, why, who's hijacked our ship, who's sending us on this bantha chase around the planet. What the heck's going on? So I get here. Battle Droid, I did all of the Battle Droid dialogue. All of that's completely new. He doesn't say anything like that in the show. So he gives himself away as being under Imperial orders for some reason. And boom. Then Din. I gotta put something right here.
Tell me who you were for best friend crash.
So I was just up to redoing Din's voice lines there. Alright. Finally my nose has stopped bleeding. I can take this stupid tissue out of it. The heck was that? You always thought Ezra and Sabine would end up being more than siblings. He definitely got friends and hard. I definitely felt like that too in the show. Didn't the battle droids expire? The Droids rebels was so expired its shield was taken down by Rex's helmet. That episode doesn't exist in Goob's edit, which is the new canon edit. That's real canon, is Goob's edit, so that's what I go by. So yeah, that didn't happen. I think that's because I didn't have maintenance for years, but it's been a while since you watched that rubbish episode. No, there's certainly some battle droids that were well maintained. I mean, this is very far in the future. I don't recall, even if in the EU there's any instances of like this many functioning ones. So this is a rarity, though. As we'll find out later in my movie, you've had an Imperial officer like overseeing all of this, and this is like him supporting the Imperial remnant. So I don't think it's too bad that there's still, like one single battalion of them still functioning on this planet that he's trying to ship off-world to get to Moff Gideon. Spoilers. That's my plot. Would have been interesting if Kalani returned in the season 3 finale with CIS reinforcements to aid the rebels against Thrawn. I don't know. Nice. It's been a while since I've rewatched all the Rebels. I'm waiting for Goob's series. A lot of people are waiting on Goob's series. It is the premiere Rebels edit. Okay, so right now, let's listen.
Right now.
Imperial regulation, you say?
Okay, so he's trying to just goad. He's trying to antagonize these things to goad out information. So I need to put a voice line here because it definitely looks like he says something.
Tell me who you work for, best.
And then I'm going, tell me who you work for, Beskara trash. And then he kicks the super battle droid. And that's the one that goes haywire. So, what's a good voice line for Din right here? So he's Imperial regulations, you say? Sir?
Tell me who you work for.
And it's got to lead into tell me who you work for, Beskara trash. It's a good transitionary dialogue there. What's his action? He kind of just like looks at the ground and makes a comment.
Tell me who you work for, best trash.
Right before he kicks it. He's kind of gathering himself. So you'd kind of say, and I can change this line. I'm not like married to this other line. So I'm thinking even something like, well, if they're not going to talk, maybe this will motivate them. Boom! See how that works. It's an idea.
Well, if they're not going to talk. Well, if they're not going to talk... Maybe this will motivate them. Maybe this will motivate them.
Let's try that.
Maybe this will motivate them.
No.
Maybe this will motivate them.
It's gonna be hard to get the tone right. Let me try that. He yelled angrily trick.
Maybe this will motivate them, he yelled angrily.
Come on.
Maybe this will motivate them.
Give me some anger.
Maybe this will motivate them. What is?
Who this?
Maybe this will motivate them, he yelled angrily. Maybe this will motivate them, he yelled angrily.
He's not doing anything what I want. Maybe this will motivate them. It's probably too intense. Gotta get a baseline.
Maybe this will motivate them.
Sorry, no, I probably need the style exaggeration up. Then maybe this will motivate them.
Then maybe this will motivate them.
Then maybe this will motivate them.
And maybe this will motivate them.
Come on. Why does it do that sometimes? It clearly reads the text. Oh, you guys can't see. See that? It clearly gets the text right, but then it does stuff like this.
And maybe this will motivate them.
And motivate, it says. Even though it got the text correct, I don't know how that happens.
And maybe this will motivate them.
So odd.
And maybe this will motivate them. And maybe this will motivate them.
It just won't. Then maybe this will motivate them.
Then maybe this will motivate them. Then maybe this will motivate them.
It's the best one so far. Not in love with it.
Then maybe this will motivate them.
Change some of the settings a little.
Then maybe this will motivate them. Then maybe this will motivate them.
That one's a little better. Then maybe this will motivate them.
Then maybe this will motivate them.
Let's just try over the top angry here. Then maybe this will motivate them.
And maybe this will motivate them. And maybe this will motivate them.
Let's try one of the ones I have. I don't know about that.
Well, if they're not...
We'll give it a shot. I think I'll do squat. Walking in a winter wonderland. That was better than I thought it would be. I was having trouble with this. I'm not super happy with this delivery. The Imperial regulation, you say?
Stop that right now.
Imperial regulation, you say? Well, if they're not going to talk, then maybe this will motivate them.
It's too choppy the way he responds. It's gonna be like, Imperial regulation, you say? Imperial regulation, you say?
Imperial regulation, you say?
That might be better. I don't know if it's what I want, but couple chats. Unfortunately, that episode was just closure for the different show, which retroactively has been made redundant because that show got to be finished, and then it didn't add value to the main story. We're talking Rebels here. I remember someone theorizing that in Filoni's Heir to the Empire, after he's defeated, you've all just doomed the galaxy, unknown regions, Rakata come to invade. It doesn't make sense that the Rakata are extinct, as mentioned in the Path of Destruction one-offs. Make more sense than other Disney lore. Maybe this next recording will motivate Dan. I've heard, actually, that Heir to the Empire might be the one to introduce the Yuuzhan Vong. I heard it's not the Rakata, but that it's Yuuzhan Vong. And there's like artwork from Filoni's journals where he was drawing Yuuzhan Vong ships. So he's definitely thought about it, and I would not be surprised if we see that introduced in Heir to the Empire or the follow-up movies. I think they're going to tie in Abeloth, kind of the Mortis gods in general, leading into the Yuuzhan Vong returning. I could see it. They will be very different Yuuzhan Vong, I think, than what we're used to in the EU. I don't think Disney wants to do exactly what they were. They will change them a lot, which I probably would rather them just not do that at all. EU Thrawn is evil, Disney Thrawn isn't. Also, that theory sounds like when Revan went in search of the Sith Empire. Yeah, I think I got the motivate line. Thank you for the tip. Super battle droids casually hitting other droids. Disney Vong or the Grisk. The Grisk. Is that the things from the High Republic? I'm trying to remember what the Grisk are. Oh, that's from the Thrawn novel. Or the comics. That's right. Kind of. I mean, yeah, they did have that whole invasion thing. Look at that. Right, what we're talking about. I don't think they would use the Grisk. No one knows what that is. People are more familiar with the Yuuzhan Vong. But we shall see. Okay, did I download that one? Was I going to try that?
Then maybe this Imperial regulation, you say?
Let's try throwing that in there. So here's take one.
Imperial regulation, you say?
Sir? That battle droid voice is pretty good, huh? Let me get the right fades on here and stuff, so it sounds a little more natural. Maybe speed it up a little bit.
Regulation 337.5. Security breach in Sector 7. Security breach in Sector 7.
You're on the Rakata planet in KOTOR again? Nice. Lihan, it was traditionally called. Very cool. It's a fun planet. I'm quite excited for this fan edit release here. Convergence. This is going to be fun.
Really? Point. Do then. Do you think there's any cage you have?
This is going to be a really fun story. I think it'll give us kind of the KOTOR 3 storyline the fans always wanted. Where's the trailer?
Saving the galaxy.
Order must be torn.
Do you fools not know who this is? This is Lord Revan.
No. I am Revan.
So it's a fan edit that kind of takes inspiration from the SWTOR video game and novel, but I think it's going to do it much, much better. Because I do like the idea of this, like, split Revan, that he's such a unique thing in the Force, that it like, does something to the Force itself. And then you also get that parallel of the exile. It's like these two people went through such intense things that it kind of like broke the Force around them. It was so unique, and like destiny was so powerful around them. You know, the exile creates this wound in the Force that Kreia theorizes can destroy the Force itself. Revan with these just like, I mean, his mind got ripped in half, and he built up a whole other life inside, and then it reverts, and he's got this crazy pull between light and dark. It splits his soul into two, essentially. And I believe this story is kind of taking like the world between worlds or some other form of esoteric Force lore and showing what would happen if like the light side Revan and the dark side Revan get that split occurs, but more physically. Like in, I believe when they did it in SWTOR, like Revan's light side ripped out of him and was like the Force ghost. And then there was like no light left in his physical body. And so that form of him was evil. And then they like, at the end, they merge back into one, and he disappears into the Force. He's at last at peace, I guess. I think it was executed very poorly. They tried to tell it inside of an MMO. I don't think it was done super well. But I do like the idea that Revan breaks the Force, essentially. He causes this fissure. So I'm very interested to see how these guys are going to tell that story. And each of these people have their own 3 movies already. So you've got your 3 movies of light side Revan and 3 movies of a dark side Revan. And now this film's called Convergence, because their 2 storylines will converge, and they both end up essentially in the same reality. Not sure, they haven't really teased how or why that happens, but I'm very interested. I mean, it pulls in multiple of them, so you'll get like both versions of Bastila in there. I'm very interested to see if they improve upon the SWTOR concepts. This is why, yeah, there is the world between worlds, so I'm thinking either the light or dark Revan gets like yanked out of their reality into the other one. So some people like hate the world between worlds. I actually am a big fan of it. That might be a very controversial statement. A primary reason I'm a fan of it is I made a whole half a video about this, but I think you can fix the sequel trilogy by this thing. just look in there and you see the sequel trilogy play. Look over there, you see the EU play out, and now we can all stop pretending that the sequel trilogy is real in various ways. It's like, it's one possible path. If Luke broke and went the wrong way, here's how the galaxy would play out. If Luke, who he like stays who he was, and didn't have this like personality 180, this is how the galaxy plays out. And I think that's a perfect idea. and I'm okay with Star Wars. Look, I'm big into like the Celestials, and like Supernatural Encounters is one of my favorite Star Wars books. So I'm very partial to the one canon, 3 universes type of thing, where you've got multiple different realities, because at the inception of the galaxy you had essentially the first beings ever created by the Force are gods, and they were creating their own pocket dimensions and such. Vutsek, which these are all characters that are in the EU. Like Vutsek is a Celestial that is in the original EU comics. Look up his name. These are from like comics in the 80s and 90s. He gets contained in this crystal and can't get out, and like Princess Leia. Like all these Celestials, Cold Dan Design, Splendid App. This is the weird esoteric side of the Star Wars universe. Like species, demon. Like these things are the original creatures of the entire galaxy. It was like the galaxy is created, the midichlorians populate the galaxy, and they like coalesce into these celestial beings that barely even have physical forms. They exist like within the living force, and they kind of create parts of the physical realm. And I love this stuff. So Alan Dean Foster developed a lot of it, the author. In the comic Tylotny Throws a Shape. You can... What is that? Tylotny Throws a Back Shape. What deranged mind did this? Oh my goodness. This is like OG EU stuff. Like Alan Moore. This guy was on a trip when he wrote this. I mean, he was commissioned by Disney in the 80s. They said, we want to explore this bizarre side of the Star Wars universe. And it's very much a product of the 80s, but to me, that's beautiful. And so many other stories later on, like even Matthew Stover's Revenge of the Sith novel, he writes about Anakin is thinking of the old star dragons from myth, essentially, which have appearances in books like Supernatural Encounters, and they're essentially like the pets or the guardians of these Celestials, and they literally would live inside the stars, and again, this gets more into like the fantasy side rather than the science fiction side. But that's like the progression of the Star Wars universe, is that it starts off very fantasy oriented, and it's like what would happen to a fantasy realm that existed for millions and millions of years. And so these ages are like before time even ticks the way we understand. Then you get the age of man, and it explains why humans become the dominating species in the galaxy, where traditionally you would expect many, many, many different species to evolve at once, and there's no real reason humans would be number one, but this explains why, and it makes a lot of sense. So eventually you get, there's this thing called the Cosmic Wars, where these guys kind of like rip the galaxy apart when the Celestials have this like war in heaven, essentially. And then you kind of like reset the timeline, and you get to BBY, where we can actually start making sense of time. So again, all very celestial and interesting, very interesting. And you see, if you've read the Dawn of the Jedi comics, like they reference this type of stuff, like the Cosmic Wars, the Tho-Yor. So it was all so cohesive. Lots of cool stuff in there. What happened to his hair? I don't know who you're talking about. Sorry, I looked at that too late. Oh, the Revan? Is that actually talking about this Revan model? The light side Revan? Yeah, this is like the canon Revan face, and this is like the alternate universe one. I don't know why it's called. That's just the artwork they chose for it. Where was Clea and Val during the OT? Not sure. I'm positive we'll get books about that at some point in the future. I know there was 3 Andor novels announced. I think the first one came out. I think it was like was that the Mon Mothma one? So maybe the other ones will kind of explore Saw Gerrera's team or Clea. That'd be a cool book. I really enjoyed that hospital episode. I was a little disappointed in Luthen. Like, dude, you've planned that much and you didn't like shove that thing in your neck. You just like kind of stabbed yourself in the gut. I when it was happening, I thought he was gonna have a bomb rigged in his art gallery, and he was gonna hit that and just like blow the entire thing to smithereens. But I think they didn't do that because they wanted the Clea character arc, which it was good. I still wish it was definitely Luthen to kill Lonnie and then kill himself. But he kind of sucks at killing himself, to be honest. Who stabs himself like in the lung or whatever he did? That just sucks. So anyway, this freaking picture, man. Who did this? Highly recommend if you guys read this comic. Ty Lotney Throws a Shape. OG 1980 Star Wars. Ty Lotney is a fascinating creature. This is some of the most philosophical stuff in Star Wars as well, with these celestial beings. Because they each... Vutsek is the father. These 4 things are the kids. And they each, like, inhabit a 1/4 of his personality, essentially. So, like, Ty Lotney is the embodiment of pride. So she is birthed into this universe with near infinite powers, and her whole personality is built around pride. And it's like, what would a god that just awoke to a new galaxy, who is the embodiment of pride, how would that creature react? And so you get these really, each of them, like, Splendid App is intelligence. Horless is kind of like emotion, like empathy and regret. You've got Cold Dandasine, which is like cold calculation, experimentation. So it's like the 4 of them make a cohesive being, but when one of them is out of step or out of balance or leaves, all of them go out of balance, because they are supposed to be like one cohesive thing, but all those personality traits clash. All right, I gotta stop. I gotta get back to work. I could talk about this for like 5 more hours. I'm just Xing out. I'm not letting myself go any farther. Back to work. Let's watch the Super Battle Droid chase. I come for the Mando edit, but I stay for the EU tangents. Yeah. I would be done with this movie if I didn't go on these, wouldn't I? Okay, so I actually thought, upon first watch, this chase scene is not bad. It's actually kind of competently directed. So let me do a review of this right now with you live. See if there's any little tweaks to this chase scene we could make. A little slow getting up there. I think this, like, people screaming terrified of this thing and then cutting back to that droid, that's a mistake. Now you've told us that from right here, 146.14, Din's already up on his knees, crawling to stand up again. You're telling me for 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 seconds have passed and neither of them moved a single inch. That's wrong. That shall not be. Okay, so I'm probably gonna end once I end for. I'm not doing a 3-hour stream tonight. It's a Tuesday. I save those for Friday nights and such. So let me get through the end of this chase scene. So what I'm gonna do to fix this is that can stop like there basically. You don't need this like and then it stops like 5 feet short of them. Look how scared that guy is of a freaking box. Look at these folks. I get it, they're like weird looking people. But my goodness, it's a rolling box that's going like 3 miles per hour. What is that? Like 7 kilometers per hour for you, Goob? Miles per hour is I can't even say it's the superior system as a joke. I can't even go there. It's stupid. All our measurements are stupid. So we don't need that. We don't need the rest of this reaction. That gets odd. Now, what I would also say, they should get up right away. And then you should go from that 100%. Just reverse these two. So they get up pretty much right away as they like see how that plays out. I'll keep some of the screaming in there. See how freaking smooth that is now? I mean, that looks like they're using like jetpacks. They jump down. Like Bo-Katan's in a combat role essentially. So like by now she should be there. I might leave the box a few frames more, but not many. That timing is almost right. It would take for her to flip around to the front. Yeah. That is realistic right there. And then when we cut to them instead of the battle droid, now they continue their momentum. Then you cut to the battle droid running. And then you cut to a side angle of the battle droid running, which is still fine. Heck yeah. It's the little things. Nothing is more jarring than those just pauses in the action where it's like, why didn't those guys move for the last 5 seconds? What is happening here? I think the environment of this thing looks pretty good. Kind of reminds me of Kenobi. What's that world they went to in the beginning of Kenobi? All you know about the measurements is that 60 miles per hour is 100 kilometers. Okay. So what, we're like 60% then? Yours is so slow. I want this screen to go even longer, I think. Your system's so simple where like everything actually matches up with like tens and thousands and such. Ours is just like, nope, 12 inches is a foot, but then a yard is like 3 feet ish, but a yard isn't the equivalent of a meter. It's off by a little bit. centimeters instead of, it's like 2.5 centimeters is an inch instead of just centimeter, and just like using sensible things. It's dumb. I still don't know all of our liquid conversions, like ounces and cups and gallons and quarts. It's like, why are we doing nothing? It's just everything's a random number. Oh well. I think some of the screams are caught on those other tracks. Okay, then we're gonna cut. I think from here I just have this boba scene as a placeholder, just to know I want a boba scene right now. So I still need to brainstorm what boba scene I'm putting next. I'll review the last stream I did, because I know I talked about boba and came up with a good plan for the scene order. So we'll go back to that, do some boba. I want to do the thing I showed the YouTube video of. Was it this? No, this is a cut part of Plaisir I had. If I need an extra 6 minutes in the film, I've got an extra 6 minutes I can do. But I don't think I'm going to need an extra 6 minutes, so this is all kind of optional. All this is doing, what my original thing is just adding to the mystery of who is this commissioner. But if you have the address, which I really want to change the word address right there. That sounds so dumb. What's a good Star Warsy word for address? I might be able to lip sync her here to actually say what I want. I could probably do that because it's a clear face shot. But what's a Star Warsy word for address? We shall be brainstorming such a thing in the meantime. So I'll re-record all those lines tomorrow, get the next boba scene in place. The next time I stream, we'll probably be back. Yeah, as you can see right here, so now I have the, like, they get the address, and then they're going to be going to the location. And where it leads them, they go in here. Boom, they're in the security room. But it's not just like, it's not this like government office. This is like a shady thing in the alley where this guy has been operating and manipulating everything. And then through his dialogue, I will reveal that he is the Imperial officer, a member of the Imperial Remnant rebuilding for Moff Gideon, which will set off alarm bells.
Was cut short in his prime by the Jedi Skywalker.
See what I mean? So I'm gonna tie it all together, referencing Mandalorian season 2, building up Moff Gideon. Again, these are all first take dialogues, but that's where we're going. So it builds that up. Now Din and Bo are free. They'll have this little conversation going over here about the implications of the Imperials interfering in this or something, and then we get to the Darksaber stuff, where I'll be working closely with Goob on this conversation too. I will definitely be sending you a script of everything here, so we can make sure it all syncs up with Rebels. And you will have a cohesive experience through the OT to the pre-ST. So we'll wrap it up there tonight. I know a little short of a stream. It's been a while since I've done a 3-hour one. I'll get back to them. I promise. This is my last 3-hour. It's been 3 weeks since I did a 3-hour one. We'll do it again soon. I will. Seeing if there's anything else I need to prepare for when I do some work tomorrow. Yeah, then we lead right from there into this, like, we start building Moff Gideon immediately. So you get that scene straight into this scene. So Moff Gideon's coming into the picture, so that's why I wanted to spend the time on Plaisir, building him up, showing that, okay, he's still got a network of agents and sympathizers who are actively trying to hinder the Mandalorian reunification, which is like directly what Moff Gideon references in the Shadow Council scene in my other film. So we know this is his motivation. Then we'll go back to Grogu. And then, boys and girls, we're transitioning right into the pre-Mandalore invasion and the reunion. I've been dreading finishing this because this is going to take a lot of VFX. I might just have to disappear for a week and just crank this out on my own time. Because this is going to be boring, where I can't be like doing commentary. I'm going to cut Ahsoka out of here. But yeah. So that's the plan. Start here tomorrow. Have me a marker. Redo the dialogue here. It's got a location. It's got coordinates. What'd she say? So he says, is there a name? The commissioner. There's no real name. That's not much to go on. Yeah, okay. Well, there's coordinates. Yeah, that works. That's simple enough. You don't need to be... Who thought address was more Star Warsy than coordinates in the first place? Ooh, VFX help for the Grogu scene? That would be great to collab on. I've got all the raw files exported nice and pretty. Because I know there's been like 3 different editors that have tried to do this convincingly. And I've talked to them before, but nobody's actually like finished it and pulled it off in a convincing way. So if you want to collab at some point on getting this right, so like here mainly, like I just need to program like the background to move with the camera a little bit so it doesn't just look like it's a green screen, which it is, because this is rotoscoped out from Book of Boba Fett. So I just need to make stuff a little more natural, color grade the armor, get some reflections of the trees on the helmet and all. It's definitely doable. And then like you can see, like this transition that's just there as a placeholder, but I need to redo some stuff there. So this will be a big project, but it got to get it right. So I will definitely be spending probably a whole week on this scene alone, just VFX nonstop for a week. So if you want to team up on that, I am absolutely willing. I will send you all the raw files I'm working with. And go from there. Thanks, everybody. This was fun. Wish I could do longer. Gotta get my beauty sleep. Yeah, so that's about all I had to say. My birthday was yesterday, so I'm a bit worn out. Gotta recoup. That's it. Alright, thanks for joining. I'll be back soon. I will. I have fun with you guys. Thanks for joining. Thanks for listening to my Vucek rants. My Talatny throws a back shape. Alright. Good night, my friends.